Hey there. It's been a considerable amount of time since I've done one of these. Since 2015, in fact. I'm going to do a collection video. I'm going to do my entire PS4 collection. I'm probably going to split it into three parts, seems most reasonable, because I have a lot of physical games. I won't do any of the digital stuff, because what am I going to do with that? Um, so I'm just going to go through my PS4 games and show off what I got. And let's see, we'll grab something from the pile. And we got Alien Isolation. Used copy. It's great. It actually took me a while to find this. This is one of the more recent examples, or good recent examples, of a game that terrified me. This was such a good time. I was tense the entire time. It's what most people always wanted when it came to an Alien game, and it took them many misfires, but they did it. It was great. It's just survival horror to a T, except you're dealing with a xenomorph, which is awful. No xenomorphs. I hope they don't exist for real. Please. But yeah, excellent game. One of my favorites of the last like 10 or so years. On top of that, let's see what we got here. Batman Arkham Knight. My least favorite of the Arkham games. And I know I'm not alone in saying that. There's a lot of people who slag off Origins, but I really liked Origins. And it all comes down to the vehicle. The game itself is good. I love the Arkham games. I love the way they play. And just having to do all the stupid vehicle tank stuff, including multiple boss fights, it just sucked the energy out of it. I never got good at it. I just did it so I could finish the game. And I've never gone back and done the DLC because I didn't want to do more car stuff, which is unfortunate because I came close to 100%ing the other three games and I loved them to death. But even with all that said, it's an Arkham game, so it's at least good. It's just the weakest of the four. I've also got this game, which I never made it very far in, Bloodborne. So I actually did beat a game, a From Software game, that we'll talk about in a minute. But Bloodborne was not it. I didn't beat a single boss in Bloodborne, which, in hindsight, after having watched people do Let's Plays of Bloodborne, maybe I could have done it. But I played this after I played Dark Souls 3, and by that point I was burnt out. And I had a hard time adjusting to the gun dynamic instead of a shield. I liked having a shield, and it wasn't for me to do another game like that. Of course, me saying that, I'm probably going to play Elden Ring when it comes out, because I want to torture myself, apparently. With all that said, though, visually, Bloodborne is amazing looking. It's so grotesque. It's like a grotesque gothic nightmare, and so good to look at. I just I don't have it in me. I didn't have it in me at the time to do another game like this right away. And to the opposite end of that, Brunswick Pro Bowling. I played this like twice. It's alright. It's bowling. It's fine. The only bowling game I've ever truly liked was Wii Bowling. And, here we go. So, first, Dark Souls 2. Another game I tried playing after playing and beating Dark Souls 3. So, going back in time wasn't really doing it for me. I made it maybe an hour into Dark Souls 2, and I just wasn't feeling it. Another game, it looks a bit more archaic, but it's still cool, but it's just same situation as Bloodborne. Now, we'll get to this one. Dark Souls 3, the one I've already mentioned twice. Dark Souls 3 was such a pain in my ass. But I got tired of people telling me that I didn't have the gaming, or like I wasn't the type of gamer that could beat a Dark Souls game. So I took that to heart, and I was like, no, I can do this. And I definitely threw my controller a couple dozen times. Very frustrating game. But just like Bloodborne, absolutely beautiful. The the areas, the landscapes, the enemies, the boss fights, the cutscenes, everything looks amazing. I love this game. But is it fucking hard, and is it relentless? Like, I know, like, you just gotta get good at those games. And it's true, but there are definitely some times where the game messes with you a little bit. The only boss, discounting DLC, because I didn't beat either DLC. I beat like one boss in each, I believe. Maybe two in the ice one. I can't remember what it's called. But the only main game boss I never beat was the Nameless King, because fuck the Nameless King. That shit sucks. I went into that match with two other people helping me and could not beat that boss. No. But aside from that, loved the game. And by comparison's sake, trying to fight the Nameless King over and over and over again and failing, and then going and fighting the actual final boss of the game was like a walk in the park. I didn't get it. But okay. No, great game. Love Dark Souls 3. Let's see what else we got. Yay, two of my favorite games of recent memory. So first off, we got Days Gone. Outside of like Resident Evil, I hadn't cared about a zombie game in quite some time. There's so many. Is Daylight? I think Daylight's one of the ones I'm thinking of. There's Daylight, and then there's Dead Island, there's Left 4 Dead, and there's a plethora of games like that. And I just didn't care at all. I was zombied out. I was zombied out by Dead Rising 1. And that game was fun, but I was kind of set. I didn't want to do it anymore. But Days Gone, I rented it, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot, because I remember seeing videos of it, and there were some interesting concepts to it, like the fact that you can run out of gas and stuff like that, and basically it was you going to different establish, I can't think of the right word, but establishments essentially where people had bunkered up, and then doing little jobs and stuff for them. And then as you're doing that, the game unfolds more and more, and then more of the story unfolds, and it gets wider, and then you run into more and more crazy stuff. But yeah, this game got me. I had so much fun just going around, doing all the tasks that were asked of me, driving the motorcycle. It was really fun driving. It was really fun fighting the giant hordes. There's some hordes that are like 200 zombies, and they rush your ass. They do not care. And if you get swarmed, you're done. That's it. So you got to be strategic about stuff. You get ridiculous weapons. I had napalm grenades by the end of that game, and I loved them. Just sneak around like a horde of like 50 or 60 zombies and chuck a napalm grenade at them and just watch them all burn and set fire to the other ones. Loved it. And the story was really good. All of them, all the branching ones and the main story, it was really good. I hope we get a second game, especially seeing as it left on a really weird cliffhanger, and I was all for it. So Days Gone was great. Another game I'd love a sequel of, and this game gets shit on a lot, and I don't give a shit. Death Stranding. Loved this game. uh, I like menial tasks. Like, I had a lot of fun just going around delivering packages. I would do it for hours. Just go around, do things. I would build the roads. I would go through Kojima's ridiculous story. And with all the COVID stuff that's been happening, and still kind of happening, the story became less and less absurd. Which, weird. But, yeah, it was a great game. I had a lot of fun with Death Stranding. And I know a lot of people look at it and like it's Amazon delivery guy simulator, and it kind of is, but turned up to the nth degree. It was fun. Let's see what else we got. Okay. So, this one is one that I've played very little of, but I thought it was alright. The idea is interesting. It just is a little too anime for me. I've been told the older ones are better, but Deception 4. It's a game where you're the villain, and your whole goal is to lay traps out for would-be heroes to keep them from getting to whatever's in your castle or dungeon or whatever. And yeah, it was all right, but it didn't grab me. So I just kind of stopped playing it. I think maybe I played like 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and I had fun, but it was just kind of like, what else we got? Let's see. On top, I'll just do these together. Destiny, is that 1 or 2? Which one's 1? There we go. Destiny 1 and 2. So Destiny 1, I remember getting a lot of flack when it first came out, because there wasn't that much to do. I'm in a weird position because I started playing Destiny when every expansion pack had already come out and they were already starting to do promotion for Destiny 2. So that was when me and a couple of my friends started playing Destiny 1. So all those complaints went out the window for me. It was just MMO Halo, and I enjoyed it. However, I did have a similar issue to what everyone else had when Destiny 2 launched, because I was there for the ground floor, and it was fine. We got through the story, and then we started doing normal multiplayer stuff, a couple of raids, stuff like that. But it's, I don't know. I can only play games like that so much, really. And if I had come in on the ground floor with Destiny 1, I probably would have felt the same way about that. But because I came in so late, I had everything at my disposal, and it was fun. But yeah, but playing Destiny 2 was really just a continuation of Destiny 1, and I know, but it was just playing the same game again. It's like playing Madden 19 after you just play Madden 18 for 100 hours. What different rosters? That's it. There was a few new guns and things like that, and there were new maps and a little bit new story and stuff like that. But it felt very much the same. This one, dropping shit. These two, I'll kind of talk very briefly about, because I didn't play either one for very long. I have a bunch of games in my collection that I put almost no time into, because I have too many games across multiple platforms. It happens. See any Steam user. Dishonored 2. Where are you? There you are. And it also says this is limited edition. I played Dishonored 2 for barely any time, half an hour maybe. And I remember feeling like the controls, I don't know if I would call them clunky, but like it wasn't doing it for me. I didn't feel like, when you hit something and you can feel it with the controller. I wasn't feeling that with this, and so it was kind of losing me, and I didn't really care about what was going on, so I just kind of gave up. And then this one was more so because I didn't have anyone to play with. The Division. I played for a little while online, maybe an hour or so, but none of my friends had the game, so I didn't really keep going. It didn't feel the same. Like, I know it's not the same type of game, but it wasn't the same as when I used to play like Call of Duty or Battlefield or Halo or stuff like that, where I would play a little bit of the single player, but really what I was doing was I wanted to play online with my friends. And seeing as I didn't have anybody to do that with on this one, I kind of just fell by the wayside. And I think by this point, Division 2 is already out. It's probably been out for a while. But yeah, I just didn't do it. So let's see what else we got. So this is a weird one. Doom, 2016, I think. I don't like this game. I love all the old Doom games, like the original ones. I like Doom 3 because it's weird and different and almost became a survival horror game. This one missed the mark for me, and I think it had to do with I didn't like the speed of it. It would give me like almost motion sickness, and I played it for a little while, but like it felt hollow to me, which is not what I want from a Doom game. I want to, like, I know it's all about like shooting and killing and blood and gore. Like, that's Doom, and that's fine. But this felt like it was just that base level, at least as far as I played, and it just wasn't doing it for me. However, I don't have a physical copy of it, but I've played the new Doom, which I'm forgetting, Doom Eternal, and they fixed everything that I just complained about. Like, yes, it's still a little fast, and yes, there's still just nonsense, shoot 'em up, blood, guts, gore, plethora of guns, and more absurd stuff. But there was something there that kept me interested. The only problem with that game is it's really fucking hard. I made it, I might have played like 8 hours, 9 hours, and I want to finish it at some point, but oh god, is it hard. One day. This is another one that I bought and played very little of. This is Dragon Quest Builders, because guess what? I like Minecraft. This isn't. It's got some aspects, and there's some light RPG elements, and it didn't help that I have like no association whatsoever with Dragon Quest. I've never played a Dragon Quest game. Like, I know what the characters look like because I've seen the box art so many times for the various games, but I don't even think I finished the tutorial. Like, I was just bored by the time I was done playing it. And I was just like, I don't care about this. This one counts and doesn't count, I guess. Duke Nukem 3D World Tour. It's just Duke Nukem 3D, the old game from 1996, 5. Yeah, so it's that, and I believe it's one more campaign level that they made. But yeah, it's just Duke Nukem 3D, and Duke Nukem 3D is great. I actually played Duke Nukem 3D before I played Doom, so I have way more nostalgia for those games, or for that game, and the couple of expansion packs that came out, like Duke It Out in DC, which I don't believe is on here. It says New Duke Talk, re-recordings from John St. John. It's fucking intense. Yeah, it was episode 5. There's 8 new levels, and it was done by the original level designers. So cool. I remember playing a little bit of it, but yeah, I've beaten Duke Nukem 3D a number of times. So I got this mostly for the nostalgia pop, and played a little bit. And Duke Nukem 3D, just on the PS4. This game I absolutely love, and it pisses me off to no end that it doesn't work with any of my flat screen TVs I've ever owned. Blah, blah. Everybody's Golf. The best golf game on the PS4. Easily. But for some reason, the two, might even been 3. Yeah, 3 different flat screen TVs I've had in the houses I've lived at. It doesn't work. There's some lag problem. However, when I used to have a smaller TV in my room, that works fine. No issue whatsoever. And I've put probably 40 or 50 hours into this game. Two good friends of mine used to play it with me all the time. And we've all had the same issue when transitioning to big screen TVs. And it sucks. So I'm just going to wait for the next Everybody's Golf game to come out, and hopefully it doesn't have the same issues. Recently, I've just been playing the new Mario Golf on my Switch, so that kind of fills the gap a little bit. Yes. So, a game where basically a sequel to a game where the first game was pretty lackluster, despite the fact that it had a lot of hype behind it, and it just didn't quite deliver. But then, when it came time for them to do a sequel, they fixed every single problem that they had in the first game and made a great game. Evil Within 2. Evil Within 1 is okay, but it's a janky mess. And, yeah, it's not really fun to play. The shooting sucks. I want to think of more examples besides the fact that the shooting sucks, but it doesn't feel fun. Evil Within 2, it works on every level. The level design is great. The shooting is fixed. The enemies, you can actually sneak up on them and be tactical. The bosses are over the top and crazy. The soundtrack, which I didn't even notice in the first game, so I can't speak on it. The soundtrack in the second game is excellent. The areas are excellent. The world keeps changing. And the story is bananas. The story in the first one was kind of bananas, but in a different way. Not in a good way. This one's bananas in a great way. You're like, what is happening? I want to see what's going to finish. Also, there's an excellent cover of Duran Duran's Ordinary World at the end of this game, and I love it. Let's see what else we got. Oh, we're getting to the bottom of the pile here. How about this? Yeah, we're going to go through F on this one. And then I'll do more videos. I'll start G to whatever. We'll see when we get there. Alright, so. Oh, of course. So, there's going to be very little talking on some of these. Fallout 76. Yeah, everyone's favorite Fallout game. It's okay. It's, by the time I started actually playing it, it wasn't the janky mess that everyone said it was at the start. It was, it got terrible reviews. It got heavily slagged off when it came out. By the time I got to it, it was okay. But I guess I never truly wanted to do Fallout with other people. I just never realized it until I was given the opportunity to play Fallout with other people. Especially seeing as you build stuff and it doesn't stay there when you leave. Which, I get from a server perspective. It's not like it's fucking Minecraft. There's a lot of shit that goes into the worlds. But that was my favorite thing about Fallout 4. Yes, technically I prefer Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. But the building aspect and the customization of Fallout 4, I didn't care about the story after that. I was like, I love this. It's great. And then it's kind of there, and it is there in Fallout 76. It's just, it's all temporary, and it just feels weird, and I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. This one I've never played. And I probably bought it for super cheap. Blah, FIFA 17. I don't really care that much about soccer, which will probably upset any European person who's watching. I just don't care. Or football. But I was told that they started doing a story mode in the Madden games, and to my shock, I got really invested in it. And they kept continuing the story, and I was all on board. And I was told that FIFA started it first, so my intention was that I would probably do the simulation manager type stuff I do with Madden instead of like playing games, but I would also do the story mode thing, and I just never did. Maybe one day. I mean, I still got the game. I believe it's probably still installed on my PS4. Thank God for external hard drives. But yeah, FIFA. This is a game let's just put it up there. Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age. So it's basically the remaster and re-release of Final Fantasy 12, which was on the PS2. Final Fantasy 12 was a delightful game, and it was also the first, to my knowledge, game that stopped doing the turn-based RPG style that Final Fantasy was very much known for. Instead went for the active combat system that a game like Star Ocean was known for. And I loved Final Fantasy 12, and I played a lot of it. I never beat it. I've never beaten any Final Fantasy game, actually, but I played a lot of it on the PS2, and maybe 15-20 hours, but I never beat it. And then when I got this version, I probably put 2 or 3 hours into it, but got immediately distracted because around the same time the first episode of I sneezed. The first episode of the Final Fantasy VII remake came out, and that took all precedent. So, and then I just played that game, or played episode 1 until I beat it, and God, I hope episode 2 and 3 come out sometime soon. I want to play them, and I hope they don't suck. I know they're gonna be on the PS5, and I'm gonna have to buy a stupid PS5, but I want to play them. But yeah, so Final Fantasy 12 is cool. I've never gotten around to beating it. Another Final Fantasy game, and this one I actually have a special version of it. Final Fantasy 15. I have the steelbook case. Look at it. Shiny, clear thing. It's cool. Steelbook. Opens like this. Dun dun dun. It's cool looking. Final Fantasy 15 was a game that I wanted to really like, and it's cool in certain regards. I like how much they added to it. Basically, they kind of took some of the elements that they had built up in, or at least that I've heard about, in like the MMO versions of the games, like Final Fantasy 14 or Final Fantasy 11, where they had a lot of side things to do. They had the whole Monster Hunter element. They had cooking. They had fishing. A lot of side quests. A lot of side things. Like hundreds of hours worth of content. But I made it a little ways into the game, and then it was one of those games I just stopped playing, and every time I've tried to go back, I'll play it for like 30 minutes and I'll go, blah, I'll play something else. And that's basically the downfall of Final Fantasy 15, and probably 100 other games I've played in my life. Something else just got in the way. And the very last game on the pile, go figure, is a game I've also never played. But I've heard good things, and I do want to try it one day because it seems interesting. See, I'll get it right one time. For Honor, which is so I'm going to say this without having played the game. I believe it's an online medieval combat game where it's not about flashiness or anything like that. It's like about actual like medieval combat with swords and morning stars and stuff like that. But I've just never played it. And I'm sure at this point, if I went online and tried to play it, I would get my ass handed to me for many, many hours. Maybe one day. But yeah, so that's the end of this stuff. That is A through F on my PS4 pile. And we'll be back for another one. Thanks for watching.